grass, and I believe that is Maple. Maple was in the grass for a bit, but it won't affect them too much because they are still on an outlap. Cue the penalty for Esteban Ocon meme. So, alright, the Williams is still going out. Unfortunately, PS12 Gamer had a bit of a track limit violation, so they would not be able to have their first lap counted. And it looks like an Alpine set a fast Sector 1. So, coming up into the last two corners, let's see how the Williams does to set the first qualifying time of the session. The McLaren will now enter the hot lap as well. And currently, a 123 for Flamethrower in the Williams to start us off here. Let's go ahead and take a look at that McLaren. I think, okay, so JT is now into the session on an official flying lap. Let's see how this one goes, following the Williams of Flamethrower. Oh, looks like he aborted the lap momentarily. So I wonder what that was all about. Let's take a look at the Alpine. The Alpine is now on a flying lap too. So going through the hairpin here. On just after completing Sector 1. And now I'm seeing, oh, okay, there's a caution on the last two corners of the track, but it looks like it was just the Mercedes Bonsai on his outlap. And there we go. Actually, we are going to go ahead and just disable that for a cleaner viewing experience. Alright. So it looks like P1 Maple has set the fastest time in Sector 2 as of now. And PS12 Gamer is 5 seconds off of the pace with a 128.5. So the Williams still, ooh, that's going to cost the Alpine a bit of time. As P1 enters into the gravel, but still a fastest sector time with a 116. Alright, that's a very good lap. Alright, we're going to go to Blade Shark in the Ferrari, who is also on a fast lap. Oh no, Blade Shark's pulling off into the pits. So we'll take a look at Bonsai, who is out on his fast lap. Bonsai's took that chicane very nicely, keeping it within the lines and keeping this car from spinning out. A good view of the McLaren before the Mercedes just rips it around the track. Coming up into the last two corners. Oh, okay. I believe that might have been Razor. Razor will go off into the dirt. Bonsai will set a new fastest lap of the session, with PS12 Gamer also improving their time. And now it's going to be smooth sailing for Bonsai, at least for now, who has definitely reduced their pace to let the other faster cars go back out on track. F1 Alexter is taking the RB19 out for a spin, going through the first chicane, and then making his way through the track on the flying lap. The Alfa Romeo that is on a out lap is gonna just go ahead and chill out on the side for a bit, try not to cause too much commotion. But I think the two cars that are going slow with the Mercedes, oh, the Williams had an invalidated lap time, which that's unfortunate. So we're gonna go back to the Red Bull. I think the Mercedes and the Alfa Romeo, those are the cars that are causing, and maybe now the McLaren. I think those three were causing the yellow flag right up into the beginning of Sector 2. And the RB19 sets a new fastest sector time in Sector 2. Let's see if their Sector 3 will be just as fast to knock off Bonsai from the top of this qualifying session. We are just about to enter the 10-minute mark in this qualifying session. So far, half of the drivers have set laps. This one will officially be over half of the drivers setting the lap. And the RB19 of F1 Alexter will go right to third place with a 117.3. Alright, so now we're going to take a look at the Alpha Tauri of Doherty. And we'll see what he can do in the AT03. Coming around the last few corners to set the time for the first time of the session. And the only Alpha Tauri that will be setting a time here in qualifying. And it will knock off F1 Alexter with a 117.2. The Mercedes of Bonsai still on top though. But we still have 4 more cars that need to set times. We're going to take a look at JT Bedrippin. Taking a look at the McLaren as it rips through Sector 2. Another caution that's probably due to the AlphaTauri, and there's an Alfa Romeo caution. Hopefully this doesn't impede too much with because that McLaren does look rapid currently, and it will not because the Alfa Romeo is well off into the runoff area. And now coming up to the chicane, it is JT starting up into Sector 3. Although I think, yeah, that's an invalid lap, which is not going to look good for the series leader right now. And Alfa Romeo will pass on by. We'll take a look at his perspective as he's about to complete the first lap in the Alfa Romeo. Oh, I think that might have been invalid too. I think that might have been track limits. And back into the pits. So we're going to take a look at the Ferrari now of Blade Shark to see if they can knock off Bonsai, who is still at the top of the table after his lap earlier today in that Mercedes. Not sure if that Mercedes would have still been as good if they kept the side pods deleted, but hey, whatever works, right? Oh, I think that's another track limit. Those last 2 corners are getting a lot of drivers here at Imola. And understandably so. That is a very tricky section of this track. And let's see if JT can go ahead and set a time. 4 more cars still need to set times. Both of the Ferraris, the series leader in the McLaren, and Steve is amazing in the Alfa Romeo. Oh, that's a pretty massive spin right there. Yikes. It looks like the car just lost it there coming out of that turn. There is a yellow flag in Sector 2, but it doesn't look like the other 2 cars that are in Sector 2, the Ferrari, and I believe that is the Williams. It is the, oh, a bit of contact there between the Williams Flamethrower, and I think that's, is that Mango? No, that's Blade Shark. That's, oh, that's not good. Especially for Blade Shark, who still has yet to set a time here. It is definitely not looking good for the Scuderia here in Imola. That is highly unfortunate. Alright, gonna take a look here at, ooh, JT is just unable to keep it within the lines this time around. It is not a good look for the series champion at the moment. But he is not alone. It appears that the final 2 corners are just taking everybody for their money when it comes to track limits. So it looks like the Alpine is also back out on track. We'll see if their time is improved. And I don't think it is 5 seconds slower, but I think now they're actually on an actual fast lap. So let's see. Ooh, getting a little bit in the grass there, but thankfully not too much to upset the car. And the Alpine is still in it. There's an Alfa Romeo that is pulled over to the side on an outlap. Thankfully not impeding the Alpine of Maple all that much. A new fast Sector 1 from, I think it was the Alpine. The Alpine set a new fastest Sector 1. The Alfa Romeo is going to call out a caution at the turn that leads into Sector 2, but it won't impede the Red Bull much. So it looks like a Red Bull is going to cross the line. I don't think it is going to set a faster time. I believe that might have been Alexter. Ooh, there's a yellow at the beginning of section, or the section 1. The Alpine is going to just gonna go through the last sector. Hopefully it will not fall victim to track limits, and it will not. It will successfully get through the last 2 corners onto the home straightaway. And we'll see how this goes. Ooh, Maple setting the current pole position in the Alpine. Good stuff from Maple. Now we're gonna take it to F1 Alexter in the Red Bull to see if he can continue the Red Bull dominance. Alright, hang on, I'm gonna go ahead and adjust a quick setting real quick. I was just told that my audio was a bit too loud, and I apologize for that. So let's go ahead and get back to the action, shall we? So it looks like the Red Bull is going to put himself into P3 provisional. We have 4 minutes left of the session. So let's just see how the rest of this session plays out. There's still 4 cars that need to set a time. The Alfa Romeo of Steve is amazing. And, ooh, that's not good. Race control just gave the Williams a 5-place grid penalty for colliding with Blade Shark that happened earlier on. And with that, Flamethrower is just going to retire from the session. True for the Williams of Flamethrower. And Flamethrower has also left the session, so we might not have a Williams in this race. Now we are getting back to the qualifying session. Oh! The 4 cars that still have yet to set times are just getting eaten up by just that final turn, the track limits on that final turn. Just getting absolutely demolished there, which is unfortunate. It looks like one of the Ferraris is going to finally set a lap time. With not much time left, there's a Mercedes stopped, and it will be Bonsai. But luckily, there is no resulting collision because of it. Alright, so we're going to just go ahead and see how this Ferrari goes. I really hope that the Ferraris, and actually everybody else included, has a time, or has the chance to set a good time. Especially around Italy, which is one of the home tracks, although granted it's not Monza for a Ferrari, but it looks like we're finally going to get a time from a Ferrari. Blade Shark moves up to, let's see what place. Oh wow, okay, I somehow missed it. Up to P7 with a 118. Good time from Ferrari. And we're going to see Bonsai coming back out now. Let's take a look at the Mercedes that was on top of the charts for a majority of this qualifying session. There does seem to be a slow McLaren off in sector 2. And that will be JT on an outlap. Let's hope it doesn't slow down the other cars too much, but it doesn't look like it will. Oh, it appears Bonsai just set a new best in sector 1. So we'll see if this leads to pole position with with just over a minute left. So let's see. The Mercedes is coming around these corners a lot better than I would. I probably would have went off into the blue like a boat. And let's see, I think JT, or no, that might be Razor. Razor's looking to improve his time. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like that will be the case. But it appears that the Alpine's on the outlap trying to solidify their position on top of the table. And this is probably the only place you ever see an Alpine on pole position, which is unfortunate, but it is probably the only time we'll see an Alpine on pole. Never mind. Bonsai is going to crush the hopes and dreams of every Alpine fan out there, harder than Alpine is crushing the spirits of Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly. Great stuff for the 115 from Bonsai there. Alright, so JT is retired from the session, and same with Bonsai. Both drivers have retired from the session. So that just leaves Mango and Steve to go ahead and set times in their Ferrari-powered machines. Let's see, it looks like XD is coming around the final corner, and more track limits. This is not good for Mango. Those track limits have just been eating up everybody. So that's it for Mango. PS12 and Blade Shark are all done with the session, along with Flamethrower and Bonsai. And also the AlphaTauri is going to retire as well. So we'll see if Alexter or... Oh, Maple is not going to be able to make it. And neither will Alexter. Alexter just violated track limits. That's really unfortunate. So it is up to Steve to potentially dethrone the Mercedes. And we'll see. No, not quite, but he'll get close. Just barely under 0.3 of a second. Great stuff from Steve, securing second place and front row in the OWR Imola Grand Prix. Great stuff from all these drivers. If I was in it, I would probably have like a minute 20, but good stuff there from everybody involved. And so now we have our grid lineup for the race. Looking at the top three, we have Bonsai, Steve, and Maple. Can't wait to see how the rest of the session turns out when we come back for the Imola Grand Prix with OWR. Some great laps. Unfortunately, it just looks like that the final turns just ate everybody's lunch like the bully you had in middle school. It is just unfortunate. Granted, that's not an uncommon error. I've done it numerous times myself. And these drivers have definitely put in some times. It's unfortunate that the Williams of Flamethrower just received that many penalties. But now we head into the race here in Imola. Let's see if the pit strategies for these drivers is going to be top tier. Or let's see if their strategies are just not going to happen. Although I don't think any of them are Ferrari strategists, so I think they'll be fine. So as the session loads in, it will be an exciting race here in Imola. And I am really excited to present it to you. So it's a 50% race duration here at Imola, so that roughly leaves us around 30-ish laps if my brain can do math correctly today. So let's see how it goes, shall we? The session is about to start up, and it is go time. Go time here, and we have 5 lights. And it's lights out and away we go. The Imola Grand Prix is underway. A great start there from Steve and Alfa Romeo taking the lead at the beginning of this race. And let's just see how it goes from here. It's going to be a really tight battle to the first chicane for all these drivers. And looks like everybody seemed to survive here. Oh, we have a car off. We have a car off. I think that was Razor. Razor flew way off of that track and went right into the wall. That has to hurt. Oh, we have a Red Bull of PS2 Gamer who's also in the wall. So yellow flags are all around. Safety cars out. Lap 1. Oh boy. This race is off to a very hectic start with a Red Bull and a McLaren going way off. Razor was second in the driver's standings. And that's that is highly unfortunate. There is a safety car out, so a lot of people will just be... The track will be a bit slower from now on, up until this safety car. Hopefully the safety car doesn't last too long, because that was a really good turn 1, and then it just kind of fell apart from there. That is so unfortunate. A good start though from Bonsai, jumping back up into the front after starting in P2. They both had really good qualifying sessions here. And now everybody's lining up single file line behind the safety car. Imola itself is always a pretty chaotic race, but we have JT who is in the pits, potentially a damaged front wing, and switching from mediums back to mediums. Alright. Safety car is out currently. Hopefully it doesn't stick around for too long. Alright. So let's just see how the rest of this race goes. Thankfully it is a safety car, so the championship leader will be able to come back and join the pack. Although while at the back, it still won't be that much of a deficit. It definitely will not be the 25-second deficit that JT has currently. So taking a look at our top three currently, we have Bonsai, Steve, and Alexter. So Mercedes, Alfa Romeo, and Red Bull respectively. I guess it's still appropriate to call them Alfa Romeo. We don't have to call them Steak F1 Team Kick Sauber or their racing drone livery. We can still call them Alfa Romeo, so we don't have that much of a tongue twister. I wonder how mad Twitch chat would be if I just decided to refer to the Alpha Tower Doherty as the Visa Cash App Racing Bull car. Like, I'm not even going to abbreviate to VCARB. I'm just going to call it the Visa Cash App Racing Bull for the fun. Thankfully, I am kidding. I really should have worn my Alpha Tower jacket for this race, but you know what? We're balling. Safety car is still out, going into lap 3 with a safety car, so it is definitely going to still be... It will at least be this lap with a safety car. Hopefully, by the end of this lap, the safety car will be in, and it will be green lights for everybody. Because we won't see green again on the pits until Bahrain. Oh, it looks like Blade Shark's into the pits, speaking of. And it looks like maybe a tire change from Blade Shark. We'll see. They are now on the hard compound tire. I think Blade Shark was on... I think Blade Shark was on mediums beforehand. So it'll be interesting to see. And hopefully Blade Shark can catch up before the safety car goes back into its hiding hole. But we'll just see. Well, at least the safety car is free from the bullying of the track limits. It makes me curious if like safety cars could actually get like penalties. I wonder how that would even work. I don't know. I do not want to figure it out. So let's talk about those accidents in turn 1. I hope they had some kind of car insurance, although I do not want to imagine the rates on these F1 cars. Probably more than my college debt multiplied by the square root of 5, which doesn't even exist, but you know what, I'm not a math major. Alright, safety car's in, and now we are going green. We're back going green in Imola. Let's hope that this green lasts longer than the last green. Bonsai leading into turn 1. Hopefully nobody dies on this corner like the poor McLaren earlier of Razor. And it looks like success. Ooh, that's a good amount of vibration, which is unfortunate. Oh, looks like Steve is going to go ahead and try to make a pass. Trying to go around the outside and just not quite. Just not quite enough to make the pass stick. Very close racing though, but oh, bit off track, but I don't think that will hinder Steve too much. But it will give Bonsai a good amount of breathing room. Oh, we have a caution. And there is it looks like a Ferrari got a little bit sideways momentarily, but hopefully they'll be back. Steve will go ahead and take the lead of this race in the Alfa Romeo. Some close racing here between JT and Blade Shark. Let's see if the Ferrari can pass the championship leader in the McLaren. And the fastest lap of the race is a 1:19.009 by Steve is Amazing in the Alfa Romeo. And it looks like the Alpha Tauri has swung into third place and is now on podium. Still a good ways way behind the Mercedes, but they have a good margin between the Alpine. Lap 5, nobody has spun off yet, and that is a blessing. However, I believe in the next lap, I believe that I believe DRS will be coming online next lap, so Bonsai will be in that DRS range, and there are some pretty good DRS zones on this track. The two lead drivers are definitely keeping it between the lines, which is very much appreciated. But let's see how long this lead lasts. Oh, Blade Shark. Unfortunately, got hit with a 3-second time penalty for track limits. That seems to be the running theme of this race, is track limits just ruin everybody's fun. Alright, looks like JT is going to try to attack the Red Bull of F1 Alexter. Steve is amazing, and he will set an amazing time as the fastest time in the race. Alright, looks like some good racing. Oh no, the AlphaTauri's out, and it looks like the Alpine's out to massive crash, and another safety car is getting called out. A massive crash between Doherty and Maple. Really unfortunate stuff. And so another safety car will be called out. That is unfortunate. Well, this will allow the championship leader to crawl back into third place after overtaking Alistair just shortly before the safety car was called out. And we'll see how this affects the rest of the race. Your top three are Steve, Bonsai, and JT, with Alfa Romeo, Mercedes, and McLaren respectively. Hopefully this will be another safety car that doesn't last super long, so we can get back green. I did say I wanted this green flag to last longer than the previous one, and it did, but still not long enough. Oh, speeding in the pit lane for Alexter. That is not a good look for the Red Bull. That is just not. That's just super unfortunate. 5-second penalty for the Red Bull F1 Alexter for speeding in the pits. You cannot do that. While speed limits may be an abstract concept for Floridians, the speed limits are definitely enforced for the pit lanes. It has been a hectic race here at Imola. We're only on lap 7, and we've had 4 DNFs. It is unfortunate, but hey, we still have 7 cars and 7 amazingly talented drivers all ready to get back into the thick of things once this safety car ends. And hopefully no more track limit penalties, although I unfortunately think that these track limits are going to catch some of these drivers out like they have been all qualifying. Unless the safety car stays out for another lap, I do unfortunately think that the Red Bull of Alexter and the Ferrari of Mango are going to get caught out with a pretty healthy deficit. And we'll see if the safety car comes in. It doesn't look like it is, so there will be at least one more lap of the safety car. So, well, luckily, oh, looks like F1 Alexter is going back into the pits. We'll see where this goes. Going to be changing tires back to. Oh, they're serving the penalty. All right, good thing. So it doesn't affect the post-race time. And it is still during a safety car, so it is still a pretty good time to call it. And let's just see where things go from here. Hopefully this is the last lap we'll have a safety car. Ideally of the entire race, but especially for now. Imola is a very fast track. But unfortunately, we're stuck in heavy traffic like it's downtown LA or New York or Chicago or insert any big name city here. I know I saw a YouTube video on this relatively recently, but imagine if they had like an actual like F1 style safety car. That could be pretty neat. Although, I'm not sure how exactly that would work, but it could be a neat thing. Oh, wow. Even while the safety car is out, F1 Alexer just cannot catch. Oh! Well, the safety car is in on this lap, but it looks like there's potentially a bit of contact between Blade and Flamethrower. But it didn't appear to cause too many problems for either driver. But the important thing is the safety car is coming in, and we're finally about to go back to racing. The cars are lined up ready to make the best possible start ever after this safety flag, and it's green. Green means go, and we are back racing here at Imola. Steve is going to go ahead and keep the lead, but he has two angry Mercedes-powered cars right up behind him. JT is looking like he's going to attempt to pass. Not quite, but it definitely looked like that was potential for a pass to move up into second place. JT did have a pretty good start, starting closer to the backfield and now into the podium positions. And I believe it's going to be a podium for a while. The Ferraris are currently passing each other, but it may not mean much. A little bit of contact, it appears, between Blade Shark and Alexter. Oh, a lot of contact between the two. They better be careful to not get any other penalties. And Bonsai will actually get a penalty for track limits. So this gives Steve an amazing advantage, no pun intended with the name. But it looks like track limits are going to be the name of the game here at Imola. So, I mean, Alexter has a pretty comfortable lead right now. Blade Shark will get, I believe that's another penalty for Blade Shark. And there's a car off into the gravel, it appears. Oh, it is the Red Bull of Alexter. Probably a result of a little bit of that contact we saw earlier between Blade and Alexter, or at least it was one of the Ferraris. Oh, Mango was getting a little bit slidey back there, but they appear to have survived. We'll definitely see how this goes for the rest of the drivers here, but so far, it looks like a less chaotic race. Alexter is back into the pits for what I believe is the third time. Alexter, I don't know if Alexter has many other tires left, but they do have a 33-second deficit to try to make up, on top of the penalties. It looks like there's going to be a battle here pretty imminent between the Mercedes of JT and them, or sorry, oh, Blade Shark will get a penalty as well. Another penalty set for Blade Shark. That is, Blade Shark's just not having a good race this time. DRS is now enabled. So all JT has to do is make up like 0.3 seconds, and JT will take that McLaren into DRS range and get a nice speed boost of around 13 miles an hour or so. The Ferrari here, XD Mango, going into some corners. It gets a little bit on the grass, but thankfully nothing much else comes of it. We're going to see a little bit of the battle between Flamethrower and Blade Shark, although it may not mean a whole lot with the penalties that Blade Shark has accumulated. But some good solid defense here by the Ferrari Blade Shark, just to keep that Williams just enough behind. And Mango is going to get a 3-second time penalty. So both Ferraris have penalties. Not good. So it'll be interesting to see this battle for 5th place here. So far, Flamethrower is the only car within DRS range of another car. And it looks like they're about to hit a pretty major DRS zone after these final 2 corners of the lap and of Sector 3. And we see Steve is in the pits. Steve is now in the pits. Going to change out to the hard tire compound, probably for the rest of the race. And Steve is back racing, although they will be pretty far back on the grid, but I believe everybody else will still have to pit except from maybe Alexter. So with that, we crown JT as our leader for now with the 3-second penalties of Bonsai. But Bonsai does lead the race currently. Ooh. That's definitely going to be a warning on JT for going off track limits. 2 seconds behind the Mercedes. Although I believe the Mercedes of Bonsai has only 1 penalty. So if Bonsai can push and get over 3 seconds away from JT, even with the penalties applied, Bonsai would be the unofficial winner of the race. After the OWR go ahead and complete their rules and their standings. And it looks like Bonsai is definitely trying to increase that gap. But we're going to go ahead and check in with the battle going on with the Williams of Flamethrower and Blade Shark in the Ferrari. Definitely a battle going on here. There's a pretty big DRS zone coming up, so let's see. Ooh, I think that was relatively close for track limits for Flamethrower. Let's see if this DRS zone. Let's see if there's enough real estate for the Williams to make the pass before the DRS zone ends. Unfortunately, there does not, but that time deficit definitely did shrink just a bit. A good battle here between the two, although it appears that the Williams is ghosted. Oh, and the Ferrari will go a bit off track, and the Williams will go ahead and move up into 4th place. Although good chunk of the way away from podium, but still a position gained. Let's check in on the battle here between, oh, it looks like a train of cars here with Steve is Amazing in Alfa Romeo chasing down another Ferrari-powered car. This time of Blade Shark, and a nice pass on the inside. Moves Steve up into 5th place. That was an incredible corner. But now he has to hunt down the Williams of Flamethrower. Let's see if this has any merit to it. Pretty close and a good pass, taking advantage of the ghosting that seems to be an occurrence for Flamethrower, and moves up into 4th. However, oh, and JT is actually in the pits. I was just about to mention there was a 16-second time gap to JT, but JT went in the pits. Still a 10-second gap to Mango, and another 8-second gap from there to Bonsai. We're going to go check in with our race leader now, who has a pretty comfortable lead, an 8-second lead. So, oh, Alexter is going to get a penalty, and so will Steve. And Bonsai went pretty far off the track there. It'll be curious to see if there's any drivers that come away without penalties, aside from the 4 drivers that unfortunately did not finish the race. So JT and Flamethrower are our last hope for drivers not getting penalties in this race. Speaking of JT, let's check in on him, see how he's doing in the McLaren. Making pretty good progress here. Although be very curious to see where all these standings rest after penalties. Blade Shark will get another set of penalties. That is just unfortunate. The Mercedes is in the pits now. And XD Mangoes will take the lead for now. And Steve is amazing. We'll set an amazing lap with a 117.9 in the Alfa Romeo. And moves up into 2nd. The Mercedes will rejoin shortly after Blade Shark. And they're back racing. Let's see. JT is within DRS range, but also Bonsai is within DRS range of Blade Shark. So this upcoming DRS, or the DRS section, will be a pretty interesting one to say the least. We'll see how it goes. Oh, looking to pass on the outside as Bonsai. Oh no! A bit of contact there from Blade Shark and JT. And Bonsai decided to go rally racing a bit. But we'll get the pass on the inside on Blade Shark, and Blade Shark does go a bit wide. And Bonsai is going to make that pass stick. Moves up into 5th place. Still within DRS range, though, of JT. Oh, JT looks like he's going off track just a bit. Trying to catch up to the P3 Williams of Flamethrower. The only 2 cars that do not have penalties. Bonsai and JT are both pretty close. Oh, but Flamethrower is going to dive into the pits for a new set of tires. And it's still going to be a battle here for P3 between Bonsai and JT. But Bonsai has DRS, so Bonsai will move into P3. Let's see how this goes. Blade Shark is also into the pits for a new set of tires, and I believe everybody should be done with their pit strategy. So now the rest of this race is just going to be pure pace. And that rhymed, and I am not ashamed of it. Ooh, JT getting a little close with the track limits there. Mangoes will be slapped with another penalty. And I swear, Oprah Winfrey is on this track. JT is going to get some penalties now. So it is up to the Williams of Flamethrower to be the only driver without any penalties in this race. Please don't break my hopes and dreams. So it's going to be a little bit of a battle. Looks like a minor bit of contact. Alexter is going to get hit with even more penalties. I swear this track has the spirit of Oprah Winfrey. Wow, way off track there. But potentially for the greater good to not cause a massive collision between the Williams and Red Bull. But back to what I was saying previously. Oh, and Bonsai is going to set another fastest, or Bonsai is actually going to take fastest lap away with a really good lap time. But still the battle with JT. JT will go ahead and take back 3rd place. And we'll see. Ooh, it looks like it was a little close there for potential contact. But there is a pretty big gap between the top 4 and the bottom 3. So, and Steve is amazing currently, has a pretty decent time lead on Mangoes. Blade Shark again with penalties. Oprah Winfrey is definitely embedded into the track saying, you get a penalty, you get a penalty. Everybody's getting penalties for track limits. Which is unfortunate, but Imola does have some of the trickier track limits. And oh, looks like the Mercedes of Bonsai is going to swing into 3rd place. But can Bonsai make it stick? Bonsai will indeed make it stick. A really good battle here between Bonsai and JT. And we'll see where this goes from here. We're going to go ahead and check in with... We could check in with the Williams. The Williams did get past the Red Bull. And we'll just go ahead and also pop in with our race leader with good old Steve. So far, Steve has had a pretty solid race here. In the lead for a majority of it. We'll see how this works with the penalties. Once penalties get involved. It looks like a switchback happened between Bonsai and JT. Oh, it looks like a little bit of contact. Doesn't look like it's throwing either driver off all that much. And Bonsai will go ahead and lead out of the chicanes. There's the Ferrari of XD Mangoes. Still a good chunk of the way away from the Mercedes McLaren battle going on for P3. But Blade Shark is going to go ahead and pass Alexter, who is in the pits again with, okay, this time for a new front wing. Steve will get another 3-second penalty. That is just not good. Not good at all. So still so far, Flamethrower is the only driver that does not have penalties in this race. Curious to see if that will stick or not. And it does look like the McLaren is falling a bit behind on the Mercedes. And XD Mangoes will go into the pits, bumping up the Mercedes and McLaren into podium positions. Steve has a pretty comfortable lead. Oh! And JT is going to spin around a bit like a carousel. That's unfortunate. But this time JT is still in the race. But that gives Bonsai a lot of room to run wild and try to catch up to the Alfa Romeo of Steve. Although I think Steve has, a combined total of 6 seconds of penalties. If he stays like that, then Steve will actually be in a good spot here to stay in first place and take the win for Alfa Romeo here in Imola. Over halfway into this race, and still there's only a single driver that does not have any kind of penalties at the moment. JT getting a bit squirrely there on the exit of the corner, but looks to be back on form. Gonna check in with the Ferrari of XD Mango. So far having a pretty decent race, up into P4. Checking in on the Williams that is still ghosted for some reason. Blade Shark going around the corners of the chicane into Sector 3. And then on the straightaway leading to the final 2 corners of Imola. And it's been a really good race here for Steve is Amazing in the Alfa Romeo. He's probably doing better than the Alfa Romeo drivers did in 2023 in general. Oh no, JT is out with a busted tire. Yikes. That's unfortunate for the series leader. JT is out of the race. You do need all 4 tires for your car. But last time I checked, F1 cars were not tricycles. So yep, that car is out. And third time's a charm, we have another safety car. Woo! We love safety cars here. But that is unfortunate. So far, 5 of the 11 drivers have been DNF'd and they're out of this race. Steve will line up behind the safety car, almost going past it. That is not an overtake you can do. But the Alfa Romeo is still in first place by a good margin. Bonsai is taking advantage of the safety car going into the pits. I believe Blade Shark just got more penalties. That is, wow. Safety car time again. So, I feel like if next time we come around to Imola, I am definitely going to try to make this, or maybe the viewers can make this a drinking game, and take a shot for every time somebody either A, gets a penalty, or B, calls out a safety car. Because I believe if I did that, I would be hammered. Although I don't drink, so I'm not hammered. Speaking of hammering, Steve is hammering out a pretty amazing performance. So far, a relatively clean race, but the one driver I will go ahead and give my commends to is Flamethrower being the only driver to not get penalties in this race so far. We had just about 12 laps remaining in this Grand Prix. And Alexter will go back into the pits again. Which is an interesting strategy choice. Now almost a full minute behind for poor Alexter. Curious to see why Alexter has went to the pits so many times. Steve is actually going to enter into the pits, giving Bonsai the lead. Mango into second place. And the Williams will slink into the podium position. Alex Sturr is now a minute and a half behind, so he is a whole lap behind, which is definitely not something you want to be. Yeah, you especially don't want to get lapped by the safety car, which isn't gonna happen, but it would be pretty rough if it did. Oh, and it says Mango has left the session, so does that mean that the AI will take over for Mango, or is Mango just going to be out of the race? It will be interesting to see. Looks like Mango's gonna earn, I believe, yeah, oh no, yeah, that is Mango gonna swing onto the pits. And we're still gonna have a safety car with 10 laps remaining in this Grand Prix. And it has been a pretty, it's been a pretty hectic Grand Prix, for the lack of a better term. So far, every driver that's still in the race, with the exception of the Williams in second place, which if the race actually ended like this, Flamethrower would be in first place after penalties were applied. And then there's been crashes, spinouts, a lot of penalties, and a pretty good abundance of safety cars this race. And we see a little bit of swiggity swooty swerving just to make sure those tires stay warm. Cold tires, like a cold dinner, doesn't really go well in most cases. And if you guys like the action that you guys are seeing here in the OWR, I definitely need to pronounce that correctly. Be sure you leave a follow on the Twitch channel so you'll never miss another race. We have quite a few more races in this league, and if they're all as action-packed as this race, which I am fairly certain that they're going to be, then you are not going to want to miss the next round. It looks like the safety car will be in at the end of this lap, potentially, and then we'll be back going green. All the cars are warm with the tires. Oh, almost an accidental overtake, which is not advisable under a safety car. Safety car is in the pits, and we're back going green. An amazing start from Steve to go ahead and get ahead and claim second place from the Williams. Oh, and the Williams loses 2 positions to 2 Ferrari-powered cars, and that is just unfortunate for the Williams of Flamethrower. Oh, the Flamethrower is still hot on the tail of the Ferrari of Blade Shark. We'll see if there is an overtake that can happen in the near future. I believe, no, not quite. We're going to go ahead and transition to the 2 front runners of the race, being Steve and Bonsai. Ooh, that was really close on the edge of track limits there. I think Bonsai might have actually went over track limits. Blade Shark getting a little bit on the rumble strip there, it appears. And the Mercedes of Bonsai will go ahead and lead the field through the first lap under the green flags. I'm not sure if that was Bonsai or Steve. I think one of those two just set the fastest Sector 2 time. And we'll see. Coming around the final corner, the first lap back under green. Ooh, Steve went a little bit off track there. Going to lose a small bit of pace. Bonsai, then Steve will go ahead and set the fastest lap of the race with a 1:16.9. The first sub 1:17 in this race so far. The DRS zone did narrow the gap between Steve and Bonsai, but not enough to make the pass. Looks like he's going to try to make the pass stick. Coming up into the S's here in Imola. And another time penalty for Alexter for track limits. Let's go back to the Williams. Flamethrower going to try. Who's kind of in a Ferrari sandwich at the moment. Or a Ferrari sub, because it's... You know what? Never mind. Oh, but Steve has got a pass for the lead here. And let's see if he can make it stick. And Steve will definitely make it stick. Sticks more than those pieces of construction paper you got as a kindergartner sticking to another piece of paper when you put that glue stick stuff on it. Blade Shark is going to get another penalty. Unfortunate. Flamethrower will lose a position to Mangoes, who is in the other Ferrari. But they're all within pretty close range of each other. There's a battle going on for first right now, and there's a battle going on for fourth between the two Ferraris. Oh, Alexter's going to overtake the Williams. And Steve is going to set another fast lap with another 1:16. And so far, it's been a pretty good race for these two, the two front runners. And Alexter's going to make a pass onto Mangoes. Oh! That was very short-lived. Because Alexter spun off the track. The car looked like a cheetah on the ice rink there for a moment, but luckily is still in the race. But lost both of the positions that the Red Bull just gained. These cars are actually phasing into each other, which I'm not sure if phase shift technology is in Formula 1 yet, but I guess here it is. So let's see how this exchange plays out between the Ferrari of XD Mango and the Williams of Flamethrower. Man, a Ferrari versus a Williams. This is like a harken back to the 80s when these two teams fought against each other a lot in Formula 1. And now they're fighting here in the OWR. The OWR. I think I'm getting slightly better pronounced that each time I do it. Bonsai is going to enter the pits. Looks like for a pair of soft tires. Let's see if this strategy call is the best strategy call to make at the time. While he will have sufficiently better grip than the other cars, but can Bonsai make up the time lost in the pit session, or the pit lane? Flamethrower still hot on the tail of the Ferraris, as the two Ferraris round out the podium positions so far, and Steve is just going to go ahead and waltz right on through the rest of Sector 2 on lap 27 here of this Grand Prix. Oh, another time penalty for Steve. That's just unfortunate. So, as Steve goes ahead and rounds off the last corners of the lap, finishing off Sector 3, we begin lap 28. We have about 6 laps left to go in this Grand Prix. And we'll see where the final positions stand. It looks like a pretty good battle that's going on here for third place. And also for second place too. Both of the Ferraris are in a DRS train. But the Williams is right behind both of them. Alexter goes a little bit off track there. Joining part with the Red Bull Rally team. And the Ferrari, oh, looks like a pass is going to be made. Mangoes takes second place. Still about 20 seconds behind Steve right now. Steve is definitely in a pretty good spot to win the rest of this Grand Prix. Oh, looks like Flamethrower is going to definitely try to make a pass onto the Ferrari of Blade Shark to get into that third place position. Let's see if it happens. We'll go ahead and go into like an onboard footage of Flamethrower right now. As Flamethrower hunts down Blade Shark to hop onto that podium step. Oh, it looks like Flamethrower took the corner a bit better, but had to ease off a bit to ensure that there was not a collision. Bonsai will get another time penalty for track limits. Oh, a near slip for Blade Shark will definitely make them lose a good amount of speed, but Flamethrower is still right on the tail of Blade Shark. We'll see if this DRS zone will be enough for the pass to happen. We'll go ahead and pop back in with our race leader, Steve, who's honestly just kind of cruising. He doesn't really have to worry about fighting anybody because second place is still 23 seconds behind. So it's very much possible that Steve just can cruise till the end of this Grand Prix and take the win for Alfa Romeo. Still a pretty good battle going on here between Flamethrower and Blade Shark for that third place position for the final spot on the podium, but there's also a battle between Mercedes and Red Bull. Let's see if it goes the way of Abu Dhabi or a race when Hamilton was actually doing good. A little bit of a slide. We'll go ahead and allow Bonsai just to extend that gap between Alex Durr, who just received another time penalty. Unfortunate. We are now on lap 30. We have 3 more laps to go here at the Imola Grand Prix. And Bonsai is going to overtake Flamethrower. And both of the Ferraris, or one of the Ferraris at least. Oh, a little bit of contact between Blade and Bonsai is going to allow Bonsai to. I'm not sure if that was legal overtake or not. I think that. Well, Blade Shark did have to give the spot back to Bonsai, it appears. Now Bonsai slips up into third place. So it looks like an Alfa Romeo, a Ferrari, and a Mercedes are the cars that are going to be on podium. 3 more laps to go in this extremely hectic Grand Prix. And right now it looks like wow, the Red Bull is just going to squeeze on through and go ahead and take the position. Steve is going to get, unfortunately, another time penalty. Alex Durr is going to overtake the Williams, but these 3 cars here in the back are definitely close to each other. This has potential to be a pretty wild accident. The back snapping out just a bit for Blade Shark, but Blade Shark is just going to go on and keep the car not spinning. Just showing everybody that this is Formula 1 and not Formula Drift, and it looks like a battle is going on here between Alex Durr and Blade Shark for 4th place, but Blade Shark goes ahead and defends. Right now, Blade Shark has better defense. I was going to say better defense than the 49ers, but that was not the case since Alex Durr just shot into 4th place right now. Flamethrower is unfortunately right at the tail end of the grid currently, but still the only car without a penalty. With about a lap and a half to go. Ooh, Red Bull was getting a little sideways. That Red Bull got so sideways, I figured that it was Mad Mike drifting that car and not the current driver. Blade Shark is going to get another penalty, unfortunately, with that Ferrari. And it looks like there's going to be a battle here for 2nd place between Mango and Bonsai. Oh, it looks like a double. It looks like the Ferrari kept it, but Bonsai will definitely be the one that makes it stick. And we have Steve, who has just started the final lap of this Grand Prix here. He's had an excellent race so far, so it's no surprise that he is on top currently. Alex Durr is going to get another 3-second time penalty. These penalties are adding up more than my bills. And it looks like it's just going to be a cakewalk for Steve for the rest of this race. Steve just has to not crash and not obtain any more penalties, and I believe Steve will take this Grand Prix and get a win for Alfa Romeo. It's been an incredible drive so far. Looks like the Williams and the Ferrari are going to go back at it again. These two have been fighting each other almost the entire Grand Prix. But the thing right now is, coming around the last two corners at the tail end of the Imola Grand Prix, Steve is amazing, wins the Imola Grand Prix for Alfa Romeo in a masterclass drive here for Alfa Romeo. They win here in Imola. An amazing drive for Steve here today. Just incredible consistency, incredible pace, and overall, a stellar drive. Moving on into second place is the Mercedes of Bonsai. Bonsai will go ahead and take second, with Mango rounding out the podium. And the Red Bull of Alexter takes fourth place here. And it's going to be a battle for fifth and sixth. But it looks like the Ferrari of Blade Shark is going to go ahead and close things out here. And this race is over. The very hectic Imola Grand Prix is over. While the game gave Mango driver of the day, I would say Flamethrower deserved driver of the day, due purely to the fact that they did not get a penalty. But that's not important right now. Alfa Romeo takes top step of the podium. And we have an amazing winner with Steve victorious here at Imola. Let the champagnes rain around the crowd. An excellent effort from all of these drivers here. So let's see what the final standings are here at Imola. An incredible drive for all three. Well, for everybody involved in this race. Steve wins, followed by Bonsai and Mango. And then for the rest of the grid, we have, wow, let's see, how many penalties did some of these drivers get? 24 seconds of penalties, which is unfortunate for Blade Shark. So here are the unofficial rules, or the winners of this race so far. And we'll come back next time for our next round here in the OWR. Once again, my name is Rekus or Patrick, and I've been your commentator today. Tune in next time for when we hit the next round in the OWR. Thanks again, and I will see you guys next time.